Seeing huge success in the mid-2000s, Activision's Guitar Hero ballooned into a music rhythm juggernaut. It didn't take long before a myriad of spin-offs were in production, branching out from the premise of the original series. Soon came alternative takes like the portable Guitar Hero on Tour, DJ Hero, Band Hero, and all of their respective follow-ups. By 2010, the Hero mega franchise was set to expand even further, with other new undertakings like the ultimately unreleased Sing Hero in the works. Around this time, Freestyle Games was gearing up to develop the third major installment of DJ Hero. The team behind it was seeking to find new ways to innovate upon the formula and keep it fresh the third time around. The previous game, DJ Hero 2, is known to have derived some of its ideas from a rejected spin-off pitch by Zoe Mode named After Party, so this was to be Freestyle's first attempt at drafting a sequel completely from scratch. As they were working on DJ Hero 3, their general concept for the title was in a state of flux. Their owners, Activision, were struggling to determine the direction it should take. Many of the ideas proposed were shot down, causing it to evolve constantly mid-development. Eventually, about a year before it was due to be delivered in 2011, Freestyle started developing a new proposal for the publisher that was tailored to appease them. It was apparently heavy on buzzwords and trying to capitalize on popular trends at the time like Facebook games. What Freestyle wanted to do, however, extended well beyond the next DJ Hero and even their company. They mapped out a pitch for a side project with a deep connection to not only DJ Hero 3, but also potentially every other future title under Activision's Hero umbrella. They proposed a platform accessible via web browsers that would be intrinsically linked to any future releases. At a time when the Hero series was splintering off more and more, this online extension for players of the games would in theory bridge the gap between them all. This ambitious task wasn't suitable for Freestyle itself though. They weren't really in a position to develop it due to their ongoing obligations to DJ Hero and lack of experience with constructing something of this nature. The job instead went to Virtual Fairground, a Dutch development house in Amsterdam. The company was known for creating Club Galactic, an MMO based around the French animated TV show Galactic Football. This new project would use the same engine, which they built internally called The Ride. Their technology was the main reason why Virtual Fairground, which was relatively unheard of, was able to score such a big contract. For browser-based games, The Ride was years ahead of a lot of its competition. It could render advanced 3D effects without compromising performance even on weaker computers. They'd also made a system that would automatically purchase extra servers during peak times and shut them off when they weren't in use, making their software efficient and cost-effective to run. Virtual Fairground's initial proposal for Freestyle came together over several months towards the end of 2010. It involved two interlinked services, a browser-based MMO game with RPG elements named Hero World, and a Facebook application to accompany it. The premise of the MMO, in its earliest forms, envisioned an online virtual world with interaction firstly with the next DJ Hero. Players would import their character from the Hero titles or make one from scratch and begin their journey towards musical stardom. It was set to have an adventure game style narrative in which the player is thrust into the duty of managing their own club. According to their plans, each feature game, including the MMO, the Facebook app, and those for consoles, would utilize a universal in-game currency. In the MMO game, players would build up their own venue and then hire players from the console games to perform live shows there over the internet. The aim would be to attract as many NPCs as possible to your club, which would increase your in-game revenue. Console players would be incentivized to take part at these live events, as they would receive large payouts of in-game credits upon completion. These credits could then be used to either enhance their Hero World venues or purchase items in the console games like new clothing, decks, guitars, and songs. Quite significantly, Virtual Fairground and Freestyle wanted this online option to be entirely cross-platform compatible, removing the barriers between the different consoles hooked up to it. Whether you owned a Nintendo system, PlayStation, or Xbox, each would be able to play together through the MMO. A former developer I spoke to from the project likened the link between Hero World and the console games to the relationship between EVE Online and its companion shooter Dust 514. The console titles like DJ Hero and Guitar Hero were those in the trenches right in the heat of the action, while Hero World would be the universe built around that with elements of economy management that underpinned the whole experience. In Hero World itself, there was however planned to be much more content available aside from its link to the console releases, allowing it to function as a standalone experience. The end goal in the game was to take over as much of the overworld as possible. The more income your venue brought in, the more you could expand and grow your very own musical empire. There were certain obstacles to overcome come along the way, primarily an NPC faction that opposed you. To compete with this enemy, players would engage them in a dance-off. This functioned through a turn-based battle system in which you would have to string together dance combos and special abilities to defeat them. Executing attacks required you to carefully time your moves, not dissimilar to the Paper Mario series for example. You would have been able to dance off against other players as well in competitive matches of 1v1 or teams of 3-on-3 in a fight for more territory. It's important to note that the project was being pictured as being more than a straightforward MMO, but as a whole new platform for music enthusiasts. Users would have been able to publish their own original songs through the service, and they'd gain in-game credits for doing so. The Facebook app planned to complement the MMO, on the other hand, was essentially proposed as a festival management game. This was similar to the venue options in Hero World, but more heavy on managing an in-game economy. You would construct your own stage, deciding on the layout, as well as the shops, stands, and other details surrounding it. Then you'd select your own acts, which you could do again by hiring people from the console games. Dependent upon their performance, more fans would be attracted to your festival, grossing more revenue that would enable you to organise larger festivals in the future and purchase more valuable items. Exclusive player items from both the Facebook game and Hero World would have been compatible with all other Hero games in the future using a universal avatar system. Ultimately, however, the Facebook game never entered prototyping. Virtual Fairground had been focused on developing a playable build of Hero World, so it never moved beyond the form of design documents. The company's earliest pitches to Activision were a success, and they entered a contract to deliver it for a launch in late 2011, around the time of the new DJ Hero. Work on the game moved along fairly quickly. Soon the team had built an overworld with various areas for the user to explore on foot, and a work-in-progress form of the aforementioned battle system. The in-game art closely mimicked the style of the existing games, using a combination of 2D art renders for backgrounds and 3D models for characters. The initial appearance of the game used a slightly cel-shaded look with black outlines around characters, but this was later dropped as time went on. By the end, extensive features for personalizing both venues and characters were in place. Venues especially included a fairly deep level of customization. Everything from the floor to the ceiling could be decked out with new lighting equipment, furniture, plants, and other decorations. You could also decide upon the music playing inside too, and unlock more songs by completing quests. The game was set to be completely free to use, although it did include a small corner of microtransactions that were designed not to imbalance the in-game economy or cheapen the overall experience. Using real money, players could buy additional cosmetic enhancements for their club, but none of those would give you any actual advantage in gameplay. As opposed to charging for a subscription or using a freemium model, Hero World would have generated revenue for the developers mainly through sponsorship deals. A designer who worked on the project illustrated how this might have worked by using Club Galactic as an example. With that game, real football teams sponsored the developer to include special items featuring their branding, which were available for a limited time during special events. For Hero World, this could have therefore potentially led to bands and music labels advertising in-game using unique item giveaways like this. Development on Hero World lasted around 5 months between fall 2010 to the start of 2011, when troubling news arrived from Activision. Every last Hero project currently in the works was to be discontinued. This was primarily down to an alarming decline in sales that the games were experiencing, which many have since attributed to an oversaturation of releases. Between the start of 2009 to the end of 2010, over 10 new installments were launched, including an inundation of spin-offs like Guitar Hero Metallica and Smash Hits, as well as mobile versions. Another major factor that caused this unprecedented breakdown was severe development issues encountered during some of their ongoing projects behind the scenes. Guitar Hero 7 was the main victim of these difficulties. Problems with the game are said to have included a faulty prototype controller known as the Live Guitar, and a critical mismanagement of the budget. DJ Hero 3 was far behind schedule too. All told, the once mighty mega franchise was burning away millions, and the publisher couldn't afford to let it go on. The subsequent death of Hero World hit Virtual Fairground hard. The developers had been expecting to receive payment for the contract once the game was finished and ready to go live. Once the deal was scrapped, Activision paid them only a partial amount for their work since it was never finished. This dealt a huge blow to the company, but they remained optimistic that the previous months wouldn't be a complete loss. They now plan to repurpose Hero World and sell the technology behind it to another party. First, they tried to adapt it into a music publishing platform called Music. This was pitched to an entertainment group in Las Vegas called E320. Eventually, it was turned down, and Virtual Fairground attempted again to reuse the assets for another purpose to recoup their losses. Next, Next, they took the base of the MMO and made a demo for a virtual casino. This was intended to be an online multiplayer gambling experience using real money. The developers submitted this early prototype to the National Indian Gaming Association with the hopes of receiving funding for a full project. Yet again, these hopes were soon dashed when the organisation wasn't interested in moving forward with it. Regardless of its potential to live on retrofitted as something else, Hero World's journey was now over. What could have transformed the landscape of Guitar Hero, DJ Hero and others would now do nothing more than fade into obscurity. Unable to sell it off, Virtual Fairground had to stop all work related to it. To make matters worse, the company was about to lose its main source of income. In the time since they had purchased the license to use Galactic Football for their MMO, a new party had privately acquired the IP from its original owners. The new rights holders demanded more money for their use of the property. Virtual Fairgrounds management refused this request, and a lawsuit broke out. In light of these circumstances, the studio was now forced to close Club Galactic down. This incident, along with another failed project, caused Virtual Fairground to go bankrupt in mid-2011, just 4 months on from the cancellation of Hero World. If you've enjoyed this video, please don't forget to subscribe for many more videos in the future just like this one. To discover more games that were never released, go to the complete Unseen64 playlist. I've been Liam, thanks for watching, and have fun.